This is what most vocals sound like when you drop them on a beat.
I'm gonna show you how to mix these vocals right.
And here's what they should sound like.
I'm gonna show you how to mix these vocals right.
I'm Maddie, and today I'm going to show you the simplest way to get your vocals to cut through any beat. To get the polished vocal sound that we're looking for as we're mixing it to a beat, we'll need to follow 5 steps. Those steps are 1, cleaning the vocal, 2, shaping the tone, 3, adding character, 4, blending it to the beat, and 5, mastering it. After we walk through those 5 steps, our song will be ready to release. After these 5 steps, I'll play you the full chorus so you can hear what it sounds like. And I also want to give you something that I made that's going to help you mix way faster. Don't want to miss it. Here's the beat I'm using. It's a clean, modern pop rap hybrid that I made. And by the way, you can download this beat for completely free using the link in the description if you want to follow along for yourself. But that's not necessary. You can do this technique with any beat. Before we get started with the steps, let me record the vocals so you can hear what they sound like raw.
I'm on the mic trying to lay it down. I've got the rhymes, but they won't turn out. When I spit in the mic and I track these words, but I'm gonna...
Now let's fix it. Beginning with step 1, cleaning the vocal. Cleaning the vocal is all about going through, getting rid of any pops or clicks, making sure that the gain or the volume of the vocal is consistent so that we can hear it throughout the rest of the song. Especially in step 1, it's important that you take your beat and turn it down. Most beats that you download online are especially loud on their own, which means when we add vocals, we'll start clipping on the master out bus, which will result in a distorted and kind of nasty sound. We don't want that. We'll talk about fixing that more later, but an easy fix for us now is just to turn down the volume of our beat. Let's take it down to -7. Next, we're going to go through and make sure that we don't have any clicks or pops. This is especially important if we have 2 different takes that we're switching between. Making sure that we have a crossfade between them can be really helpful. The last thing we'll want to do for step 1 is to gain level all of these phrases so that we can hear them throughout the beat. These are pretty dynamically consistent, or in other words, the biggest peaks that we have of this phrase are about the same as this phrase. There's not a big variation going on here, but it still will be beneficial to take, for example, this section, which is a little bit quieter, and turn it up so that it's about the same volume as this. Do this very quickly using my marquee tool. I'm going to take this section here, which I think is the lowest. I'm going to click T on my keyboard, and then I'm going to click G to pull up my gain tool, and I'm going to slightly bring this up, just a little bit. I'm going to slightly bring this down. I will slightly bring this down as well. For the first pass through, I'm just visually checking the waveforms to make sure that everything looks about the same. Let's hear what it sounds like to make sure it's dynamically consistent. And there we go, that's the end of step 1. Let's hop into step 2. Step 2 is where we get into the processing of the vocal. It's where we shape the tone. This is probably the part of the video that you might be struggling with the most. This is adding EQ, compression, reverb, and delay. It's really not all that complicated though once you know what you're doing, and you don't need expensive plugins to do this. I'm going to show you how to do this with only stock plugins. The first plugin that I'll add to the chain would normally be pitch correction. I don't want to go into the scope of pitch correction in this video, so I will omit it for this time, but normally for a pop rap genre, you would have some sort of pitch correction on here. The next plugin that I like to add to a vocal is EQ. On almost every vocal I work with, I like to high pass or low cut the bass part of the voice that I work with. These frequencies just muddy up the rest of the bass, and we don't need them, so we can cut them out. If you look at our voice on the analyzer, you can see they're not even showing up down here. The other moves that I do on the majority of vocals is usually I like to cut the mud around 300, 500 hertz. But in this case, my voice is pretty thin, and that could be just because I moved farther back from the mic, so I don't have that proximity effect or that presence that comes from getting closer. I usually cut here, but in this case, I want to add a little bit more beef. And this feels a little bit muddy to me. I'm gonna go for a little bit higher. Another thing that I like to do on most vocals is to add a little shelf here, right around 8K and above.
On the mic, tryna lay it down.
That gives it that high-end sparkle that you hear a lot in modern mixes. Another problem area I hear a lot with vocals is this 4K range. If I notice that something feels a bit harsh or piercing, this is a great range to dip.
On the mic, tryna lay it down.
Now let's move on to the compressor. Keep in mind, when we do add our compressor, it will affect how that EQ interacts. As we add compression, I find that we usually add in more low mids between 300 and 1K especially. It's not uncommon for me to add a compressor, then go back to my EQ and dip some of those frequencies out. I'll talk about what I'm hearing though as we're dealing with this vocal. My favorite compressor for vocals, and the one I'd recommend you use, is an FET compressor or a version of an 1176. First things first, I like to turn off auto gain so that I can add gain myself. I would say an average ratio to start with on most instruments is around 4:1, but for this first compressor, I'm going to use maybe 3:1.
On the mic,
I'm also looking for around -5, maybe -10 dBs max of gain reduction. We're going to build these compressors in sequence. We're going to use multiple compressors to do the job that one might do by itself. This is going to make it sound more natural. For vocals, and especially rap, which I get into a little bit farther in this beat here, like around here.
in the mic and attract these words.
If I want the compressor to individually hit every word, I want to make this release really low as possible. Turning on auto will help it to recognize some of those words and transient spikes, so it will do it automatically, but I still like to make sure that it's low. The attack, it's the same thing. The faster I speak, the faster that attack needs to be for it to start enacting.
Can attract these words, but I'm confused why they're in the mic. Can attract these words, but I'm confused why they're in the mic.
Nice and subtle, nothing too crazy. I'll take the ratio down a tad. Now I'm going to do the same exact thing. I'm actually going to copy using Option and dragging that exact compressor down. I'm going to use a slower release on this one and a slower attack to glue things together even more.
Can attract these words, but I'm confused why they're in the mic. Can attract these words, but I'm confused.
Next up, let's add a very basic reverb. I will use the QRS, or the Quantec Room Simulator. You don't need to know much about this other than it actually emulates real spaces. I would recommend using a preset, maybe going into medium rooms, maybe large rooms, and finding something that you think sounds cool. I don't know, concerto. That sounds good. We can adjust the reverb level here to hear how much of that wetness we hear. And actually, one more thing I want to add is a delay. In Logic, my favorite is stereo delay. We will adjust the output mix to be a little bit lower so it's not as in our face. We can adjust the filter as we want to. This is the same thing as adding a low cut and a high cut on an EQ to visually help you see, and we're just doing it with this. That sounds way better to me, and we have a semi-finished vocal for sure. If you want to skip all the tweaking though, my Vocal Magic starter pack has all of my beginner vocal presets where you can add into your voice and just change them with one click, so you don't have to worry about adjusting any of these settings. Yes, it's totally free. You can check it out in the link below. Now let's move on to step 3, adding character. Adding character to me is all about two things: doubles and ad-libs. Now, to use doubles and ad-libs, we'll need to make sure we record them into our DAW. My favorite place to record doubles is anytime I want to add more energy or excitement. The best place is the chorus. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to record these doubles. I'm going to record some harmonies for the chorus, and then I'm also going to record some ad-libs throughout the song to keep the interest. I went ahead and recorded the chorus and recorded it 3 different times. Then I layered in some harmonies to add some more beef to my voice. And then I finished off the verse by adding in some ad-libs so I could add some vibe. Down, 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 down. Out, 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 out. Now that I got a lot of those actually mixed in, I'm going to copy and paste the actual plugins I use on my main voice and then put them to my background voices. There's also one trick I like to add on these background voices, and that is a de-esser. You really only need one S sound to pop through, and that's going to be our main vocal. Anything else we can just tame with a de-esser and be totally fine. We're going to click over here, Option V, and we have all of our plugins pasted on there. Now what we're going to do is pan them left and right. So if we have these 3 specifically, we're going to have one dead center and then one left and one right. This one can be center, left, right.
Show you how to mix these vocals right.
Sounds pretty cool, right? Do the rest for the harmonies as well. Another thing to consider is the volume that I recorded these at. The actual waveform themselves might be a little bit lower than the waveform I recorded in my main vocal. The easy fix for all of that is to take all of these and adjust the gain of all of them so that they all hit the compressor a little bit harder. Instead of adjusting every threshold of the compressor down, I like to do this because it's just way faster. I'm gonna take all these and maybe boost them by like 5 dBs so that they're really hitting the compressors a lot harder.
Show you how to mix these vocals right.
And because they're getting hit harder by the compressor, I'm hearing a lot of that mid-range come back up. It's also all of these combined together with this single EQ move is building up some mud there. So well, here's an easy way to fix that as well. Instead of changing every individual plugin, I'm going to put all of these into a track stack or a bus. Click summing track here. I'm going to click on the EQ here and then just take this down.
Show you how to mix these vocals right.
Still hearing a lot of that S, so I'm gonna take that down.
Show you how to mix these vocals right.
Another thing that I'm hearing, and I think I'm hearing some mud from the delay itself. So I'm gonna turn off the delay.
Show you how to mix these vocals right.
Already sounding better. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to add that delay back into the bus so that they all have the same.
Show you how to
This is also going to be easier to adjust.
vocals right.
And because this is a chorus, if we wanted to add some even more reverb, we can totally do that as well.
Show you how to mix these vocals right.
I'm going to take these background voices out of the bus and give them their own processing. I like how it sounds kind of far away, but I don't like how it's very muddy. So I'm going to get rid of that.
How to mix.
Also going to add a lot of stereo delay to this.
How to mix.
Perfect. The default setting's fine. And that brings me into step 4, which is blend it to the beat. Part of blending it to the beat is going to be mixing the individual vocals in the chain, adjusting some of the volumes here and there. And then part of it is just going to be adjusting the beat itself so that it sounds loud enough so that the vocals fit well. Let's try this now. I'm going to add some more compression here to this main vocal.
On the mic, tryna lay it down. I've got the rhymes, but it won't turn out.
For these ad-libs, they're a little bit too much, so I'm going to bandpass them.
I've got the rhymes.
In this stage, I just did some minor tweaks. I added more compression to the main vocal and turned up the volume a little bit so that it sat a bit better. Okay, we've got it blended pretty good with the song. Now here comes the secret sauce, the part that's gonna make it sound like a professional record. We're going into step 5 and we're gonna master it. The reason why I think this makes it sound the most like a professional record is because we're finally getting it to the correct loudness. Most tracks you hear online are super loud and super compressed, and that's exactly what we're going to do with just one plugin on the master chain. Well, a couple plugins, but only one that's gonna do something. We're going to add a limiter. A limiter is going to let us push more volume without getting that clipping that I mentioned earlier. I'm going to add the adaptive limiter, then the U-Lean loudness meter. This is a free plugin that you'll have to download separate from Logic, but it's free, so I think this still counts. It's going to show us how loud our track is so we can appropriately master it. We're looking for a certain number to hit, and this will help us find that. With the adaptive limiter, you'll see that there are a couple of knobs. The more gain we add, the louder our track will be. But if we start hitting a lot of gain reduction, you'll notice that it starts to sound not that good. To start off with this adaptive limiter, I turn the out ceiling to -1. This makes sure that there will be absolutely no clipping. Then I start pushing the gain. I'm checking my U-Lean loudness meter to make sure I'm hitting at least -9, -8 LUFS. This will ensure that my song is competitively loud for this genre. The louder you go in LUFS, the less dynamics there are, but the louder the song will be. There is a balance to be had. And now that we have it mastered, we can finally take a listen to what the entire thing sounds like. I hope you appreciate the lyrics that I wrote for it.
On the mic, tryna lay it down. I've got the rhymes, but it won't turn out. When I spit in the mic and I track these words, but I'm confused why the verse sound worse. So I bang my head, cause it hard, it hurts, and I'm staring at the screen and feeling down. Cause I don't have that sound, but it's not that hard to figure out. No, I'ma show you how to mix these vocals right.
if you follow these steps, you can get a sound that sounds just like that. Remember that you can download this beat completely for free if you wanted to make a song with it or if you wanted to follow along. And remember the free gift I promised at the beginning of the video? Well, it's Vocal Magic Starter Pack. It's my brand new vocal preset pack that will give you 10 vocal chains, all using stock plugins in a variety of DAWs. It's just one click and your vocals will sound professional. You can find it in the link below if you want it. And if you like this video on how to mix vocals to a beat, I think you'll really appreciate this vocal up here on the best microphone for vocals.